I'm gonna say from or fromi. How do you even begin to pronounce that? Yinesbull? Nicebull? I have no idea. That is really neat. That's definitely gonna give me a new appreciation when I look at an English map. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's your favorite boy from the Midwest, Ethan. And today we're going to be doing a video that a lot of you guys have suggested for a while. Today we're going to be looking at British place names and why are they so hard to pronounce. This is from the channel Jay Foreman and his series that he has called Mapmen. I'm really looking forward to it because honestly a lot of your guys' cities, towns, and villages are really hard to pronounce. And a lot of times they don't sound like how they're spelt. So it's going to be very interesting to see why this is. After talking with a lot of you guys and reading through a lot of comments, this does seem kind of like a touchy subject for British people. You seem to not really like when foreign people and tourists mispronounce names and use the English language wrong. Which, to be fair, you guys did come up with the English language. But sometimes it's really hard to know how something is pronounced, especially if it's spelled totally opposite of how you say it. Before we get in the video, though, let's see if we can get 500 likes on this video. Make sure to turn the notification bell on. Feel free to follow me on Instagram. Check out the Discord. Also, if you're new to the channel, watch the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. And consider subscribing and joining this amazing YouTube channel that we have going on. With that being said, guys, let's get right into this video.
British place names can be tricky to pronounce.
Take this place. Looks simple. But what if we told you it was pronounced Grimis?
No, it's not.
We'd be lying, it's Grimsby.
Yeah.
But other places can be genuinely fiddly for foreigners.
And tourists who get it wrong risk being imprisoned or killed.
In today's programme, we're going to ask why British place names are so hard to pronounce.
Is there an and coming?
No, I'm done.
Welcome to Mapmen.
We're the men.
And here's the map.
Mapmen, Mapmen, Map.
Jay Foreman has a hilarious channel.
There are difficult to pronounce place names all over the world.
California has Zizix, Slovenia has Ptuj, Greenland has...
Kekertarsuit.
Even Welsh natives struggle with this one.
And tonight we can expect to see heavy showers spreading from the west into Wales.
Isn't there actually like a song to help people to remember how to pronounce that city?
Deliberately hard to pronounce names invented for promotional purposes like Llanfair, Pwllgwyn, Gwragedd, Chwyndrobr, Llantysilio, Gogogoch aside,
Show off.
British place names cause more trouble than most because they often look straightforward but contain nonsensical phonetic traps that are impossible to predict.
Try this one.
Go on, say it out loud.
I'm gonna say from or fromi. No, it's definitely not fromi. From.
In your room or on your train.
Wrong, it's not Frome.
F-R-O-M-E, it should be blitheringly obvious, is pronounced Froome.
But if you did say Frome, don't worry, you're in good company. Frome is officially the most mispronounced place name in Britain, and that's according to a proper survey.
Excuse
I
me,
didn't even
could
get
you
close to
mispronounce
it.
Froome for me?
Portsmouth.
That'll do. There's nothing more fun than laughing at tourists who don't know how to say something properly simply because they're from a different country and could never reasonably be expected to have predicted a local pronunciation that contradicts the basic rules of language.
So, we've created the
Exactly.
perfect travel agent's itinerary for maximising tourist humiliation across the country.
Starting in Biaulio,
Beauty,
head over to Rampisham,
Ransom,
then down to Mousehole.
Mousehole,
Next, travel north,
That's a ransom? Yeah, no, I would not have gotten that.
up to Towcester,
Toaster,
then a quick jaunt to Gotham,
Gotham,
followed by a stop in Quernmore,
Quorma,
before finishing up in Alnwick.
Annig, which is near Newcastle.
Or, as the people from the city itself say, Newcastle.
When will they learn?
As you can hear, no letter of the English alphabet is safe from being pronounced any of dozen different ways.
Including not at all.
Thankfully, there are some general rules you can stick to, and because we're nice, we'll help the un-British amongst you through a couple of basics.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really do need this.
Cester is pronounced stir.
Leicester, Worcester, Gloucester.
W at the start of the final syllable is silent.
Norwich, Berwick, Southwark.
ER is pronounced R.
Berkshire, Clerkenwell, Hertfordshire.
But before you get too reassured, for every rule in the English language there are always exceptions, such as the cester in,
Cirencester.
the W in,
Sandwich.
and the sound in,
Oh, this is disgusting. Oh, sorry, Berkhamsted.
which is in Hertfordshire.
The only way to be absolutely sure of pronouncing British place names correctly is to live
So
here long
confusing.
enough to learn every single one of them one at a time. Sorry.
So who were the complete anchors that invented these rules?
It's time for an English lesson.
To make an English language, you start with the base of Germanic Anglo-Saxon. Mix in a healthy dash of Old Norse, a huge dollop of Norman French, and just a barely detectable hint of Celtic. Trust me, it'll make all the difference. Stir it up for hundreds of years until the vowels really start to shift, and then... English.
Oh, that's kind of gross.
Excitingly, by looking at a map of Britain today, we can clearly see which invaders influenced our language where by plotting the origins of British place names. This marvellous, messy, multicoloured map shows which languages different British place names belong to and is a living history of our early settlers and subsequent invaders.
The oldest place names here are of Celtic origin. This is where you'll find all the place names with words like Tre, Loch, Bryn and Aber,
Such as Aberystwyth, meaning the mouth, Aber, of the River Istwyth.
which coincidentally is exactly where we find Aberystwyth today.
Celtic languages were once spoken all across the British Isles, but are now reduced to a small minority of mountain dwellers. And that's because low-lying Middle England Brits turned out to be more worse at resisting invading armies.
First up were the Romans, who brought in Britain's Latin influences.
Like the rumba.
No, like boring Latin. Anywhere that ends in castor, cester, chester or xeter was a Roman fort, from the Latin word castra, meaning Roman fort.
But the Romans didn't stay long, so although their naming system was long-lasting, the actual names they used weren't, which is perhaps unsurprising when we learn they used names like Castra Exploratorum and Belgic Oppidum.
Which was sensibly renamed Braintree.
Yeah, no one's gonna want to pronounce that. It is really cool though, just by based off the name, you know who originally settled there and kind of the history of the area. That is really neat. That's definitely going to give me a new appreciation when I look at an English map.
Next, in light pink, we have the biggest group, Germanic Anglo-Saxon.
Any place containing the words Ham, Hurst, Lee, Bury, Ford, Port, Mere, Stead, Tunstall, Wick, Witch or Mere are of good old Anglo-Saxon origin and massively dominate
bunch.
southern England.
Like Buckingham.
Or a low-lying area of land belonging to an Anglo-Saxon called Bucca.
Perhaps the most upheavaling thing to happen to Britain's place names was the Vikings, who swept in from Scandinavia in the 9th century, committing brutal crimes including rape, pillage and the renaming of small to medium-sized settlements.
You can tell a place was named by the Vikings if it ends in Thwaite, Thorpe, Kirk or B.
Such as our old friend Grimsby. Named after an important Viking called Grim, famed for his infectious positive energy, Grimsby literally means Grim's village.
Really? We're all familiar with these common settlement suffixes, but what's so striking is how clearly this map of Viking place names reflects the extent of the Viking invasions. You can practically see the exact location of the Danelaw dividing Viking and Anglo-Saxon England without needing to draw it on with thick red pen.
Following all these invasions, Britain was littered with place names that originated in different languages and accents, but the final thing that would make its place names truly unpronounceable was time.
Over hundreds of years, locals who were too busy to pronounce all the syllables in Cester reduced it to stir to save time. But they couldn't read or write, so the spelling stayed the same.
And while the English language has continued to gradually evolve, our place names haven't, resulting in a language landscape littered with phonetic booby traps.
I can't even imagine trying to pronounce all these. I'm sure I'd probably get like 80-90% of them wrong. Oh my gosh, like what is this? What is that? Like YNYSYBWL. How do you even begin to pronounce that? Yinesbull? Nicebull? I have no idea.
But what about Frome? Which linguistic group is responsible for Britain's so-called hardest place name?
Unusually for a place name in England, Frome is from a surviving Celtic word, frama, which means fair, fine or brisk, probably describing the flow of its lovely river.
It's not really surprising that the oldest language in these islands is the one that's drifted the furthest from pronounceability.
So don't forget to join us for the next episode of Map Men.
Is that the end of your sentence?
Yeah, I'm done.
So that was really interesting. I had no idea that just based off the name, you can kind of get an idea of the history and who settled there. That was really cool, especially when it comes to spelling and grammar, because you have all these rules and then you have exceptions for almost each and every single rule, and then you have to remember all those. It can get very confusing for sure. That's one thing definitely different though here in the US is a lot of the names sometimes mean literally nothing, or like a huge majority of the names for our cities and towns we pretty much just stole from England or stole from whatever country that they came from. So I guess in some ways it would be similar. You could tell who originally settled there by the name. Like if it was French, it would have a French name. If it was English, it would have English names. That's definitely not the case everywhere though, because once America became its own separate country and continued pushing west, they just named things whatever the hell they wanted. I know a lot of our towns are named after either the person who founded it, or a lot of times it's named after a certain geographical thing around that area, like a certain type of rock or a bend in a river. And that's why we get a lot of our city names. Pretty simple. I know in my area and in the Midwest, there's a lot of towns and cities that are named after either Native American tribes or they kept the name that the Native Americans had used for that area. Which I'm assuming they did that as a way to remember the Indians after they got rid of them all, which is kind of ironic because they wanted to get rid of all the Native Americans at the time. Just for you guys though, I did Google the top 10 weirdest towns and cities names in the US. I've actually heard of several of them, but I'll just go and rattle them off real fast and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So number 1, we have Toad Suck, Arkansas. I've heard of that one. We have Climax, Georgia. Hadn't heard that one. Boring, Oregon. Hooker, Oklahoma. Ass a Woman, Maryland, Belchertown, Massachusetts, Roachtown, Illinois, Love Ladies, New Jersey, Squabbletown, California, and Monkey's Eyebrow, Kentucky. So not only did we take a bunch of names from other countries, we also just came up with some really, really stupid names. There's also a Gas, Kansas. There's a Scratch Ankle, Alabama. An Intercourse, Alabama. Alabama just got real weird. There's a Suck Egg Hollow, Tennessee. And there's a Peculiar, Missouri, which I actually don't live super far from. It's about an hour away. So I actually have been there several times. It's a nice little town. There's a Dynamite, Washington. A Hill, Michigan. I'm not too surprised by that, honestly. There's a Sweet Lips, Tennessee, and a Stinking Point, Virginia. So there's just a bunch of really dumb names that we have over here. There's some interesting ones for sure. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the American names that I mentioned. Let me also know in the comments if you guys get irritated by foreign people mispronouncing the names of the cities and towns. Also, let me know if you guys, as a British person, have problems pronouncing the name yourself, and if it's pronounced differently based on the county that you come from. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Please be safe and take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.